Hi everybody, Dr. Cobb back with you. Last week I talked a lot about an idea, a simple idea, but an important idea that fitness needs to be run through filters. We need to make sure that the energy that we're putting into our fitness programs is really giving us a return on investment that's worthwhile. And what I talked about in that blog was the idea that we're starting to see that whenever we have people do average exercise programs, at least the bottom 10 to 20% not only don't get the results they're looking for, they often get worse. Now, I talked about that, like I said, and what I want to do this week is follow up with that and give you an example as to why. So I'm going to use a very simple analogy today, but hopefully it'll help you understand how and why we do things in Z Health the way that we do. Because if you've ever trained with us, what you'll learn really quickly is that we are fanatical about assessing and reassessing, meaning we're going to do some tests, we're going to do some exercises, and we're going to immediately retest to see if it's creating a good change for you. Now, the reason that I talk about this and am so passionate about it, I'm gonna, like I said, it needs a simple analogy taken from medicine. So if you've ever taken a medication of any kind, what your physician was probably trying to achieve was to give you something called the minimal effective dose. Now, it's a simple idea. If I have a shoulder injury and my physician prescribes an anti-inflammatory of some kind, if I take the prescribed dosage and I cut it down by 200 or 300%, the likelihood of me actually getting the impact of that medication in the way that the physician was hoping is pretty minimal. Why? Because I didn't take enough of it. That's one potential problem. Second potential problem, maybe the medication that he gave me doesn't really work for me. Maybe it upsets my stomach, and as a result of me having some digestive problems with the medication, my whole body inflammation goes up. And now, although maybe I was taking the right amount, supposedly it was the wrong drug. So we have two problems so far. Not enough, the wrong drug, and we all know what can happen if we take too much of a drug, even if it's the right one. So if that same doctor gave me an anti-inflammatory, and I'm like, okay, he wants me to take X amount, and I go, I'm going to take 500 or 1,000 times more than that. Well, we all can know the potential result. You could potentially die from it. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that with medication, we're always trying to figure out what's the minimal effective dose. In other words, what's the right dose or the right medication given in the right amount to create the exact result we're looking for without creating any adverse events or adverse results. And that's kind of a big deal. Now, here's the big learning piece. Exercise should be looked at in exactly the same way. In other words, exercise is a drug. It's very simple. If I give you too little exercise, you don't get a result. If I give you the wrong exercise, you don't get a result and sometimes can get hurt. Number three, if I give you too much exercise, it literally could kill you. It won't in most cases, but it can certainly hinder your progress. So the Z Health rationale, whenever we start looking at all this research that's coming out that says, hey, you know what, we've got 20% of the population that doesn't really respond at all to exercise. In fact, I was reading a study just yesterday that was looking at strength training and looking at hypertrophy, meaning muscle size increasing from strength training. And what they found was they took a group of people, they put them on the same strength training program, followed them over, I believe it was a period of 12 weeks, and what they found in some people, like the super responders, they had almost a 60% increase in muscle size, whereas they had some people who lost muscle size. Same program, different people. So that's the point that I keep trying to make these last two blogs. Your exercise program, your nutrition program really has to fit you and no one else. And whenever we run into this idea that we can design a training program without any real testing, without any reassessing, and just assume that it's going to work, I believe that's a bad idea, and I think science is starting to prove that. So whenever you look at your own training programs this week, when you look at your whole fitness history, I imagine that what a lot of you are going to discover is that you have tried to follow other people's plans because your coach, your trainer, your therapist, whoever you're working with, didn't really approach this process from saying, hey, we need to have a way to help you design a plan specifically for you. That's what Z Health is all about. So if you are, as I said, a general kind of fitness consumer, I really want you to give this some thought. We have products that can help you with this, but more importantly, we have thousands of certified individuals that you can see that can help you get on track here. And if you are a trainer, therapist, someone that works with the human body, and you don't have this bias in your training, I believe that you need to start thinking about this. Thinking about, hey, how can I learn about the nervous system, about the brain, about the body, how it adapts specifically to the stimuli that I'm providing, and how can I help people really begin to design and build training programs specifically for them to get them the greatest results rather than trusting in a lot of the stuff that maybe we were taught years ago whenever we were younger and going through school. So again, I just wanted to follow up on the blog from the previous blog where I talked about the idea that there's this big concept, a growing concept, that some people don't respond well to exercise. I believe it's way too early in the game to make that decision until we actually can show people how to create programs specifically for themselves. So if you have questions about this, anything that we can help you with, please let us know. Thanks.